Now that we have talked about some basic univariate graphs using ggplot instead of base R, what I want to do is continue that by showing some basic bivariate plots, which we will be using in starting in unit, let's see, unit 4, 5, 3, 2. I don't remember. Whenever we want, we have two variables we want to compare. We're not talking about a single variable in its distribution, but maybe how the distribution looks by group, maybe a scatter plot, maybe a comparison between two countries, and so forth. So what I will do here, let's take our box plot that we did last time, and here's what we got. It's pretty plain. Let's say I wanted to see how that box plot, how that distribution varied by continent. And that's super easy to do in ggplot. I'm just going to add something to the aesthetic. I'm going to do comma x equals continent. And now what I should be getting is, I don't know if it's 6 or 7. Yeah, probably 6 because there's no one in Antarctica. I'm going to get box plots for each of the 6 continents. So I'm going to run that. And see how amazing ggplot is? I'm getting the continent on the x-axis, the life expectancy on the y-axis, and then the box plot in the middle. And so we can see, okay, the average life expectancy in this data set in Africa is lower than, say, North America, and it looks like Europe and Oceania, is that how you say it? Which is Australia and New Zealand. It looks to be the highest of them all. And that's how easy ggplot is. Just by changing the aesthetic, I can tell the graph exactly what I want it to look like. Maybe I want this is a cool one, violin plot. Geom violin. It's kind of like a box plot. It's like showing you the same thing. It's showing you the range, and the width of this is like the number of observations in there. So we can see, for example, that Europe, yes, it does have a wide range, but there are really most of the observations are up here. Whereas Asia, it's a bit more evenly distributed across the range. Those are always fun. I could do Geom Point, which is going to give me just dots for each individual observation. This is not that helpful because I'm just seeing like each observation in our data set. But this one can help if I make the points translucent. So I write alpha equals, say, 0.3. That's saying I don't want the points to be solid. I want them to be like transparent. And when I run it now, I can see, oh, most of the data points are where it's really dark, and fewer data points are really light. I could even make this number lower. And now I can see it even more clearly that, yes, there are a few countries in Africa with life expectancies near 80, but most of them over this time period are concentrated towards the bottom of that distribution. So that's a simple type of bivariate plot. Another one is like a scatter plot where we have two continuous variables. So I am going to draw a new one, ggplot, data, AES. Here, let's say I want to compare year because I am interested in change over time. I can do x equals year, y equals life expectancy. I'm going to do Geom Point. And now I'm seeing the whole distribution year to year, right? So in 1952, this was the distribution of life expectancies across all countries. In 1957, here's what it looked like. And we can see it looks like it's going up. That's a good thing. There are some outliers. Okay, what's happening in 1992? Maybe that's a war zone or something, and you could investigate that. But the average trend seems to be going up. So let's take this and customize it a bit. First, let's get that points a bit transparent so we can see them a little more clearly. Okay, so now we can see sort of the distribution of those points within each year. And let's say I want the average trend. I can add another layer called Geom Smooth. And that is going to give me sort of the trend line. Okay, what's the average trajectory? And this is saying, okay, well, it's kind of connecting the middle of all of these points, saying, okay, between 1952 and 2007, life expectancy rose from an average of around 50 years across the world to an average of around 63 years. So that's what you might call some human progress. So that's just a quick introduction to some cool things you can do with ggplot. In the next video, I'm going to take it one step further and show the real power of ggplot as we get into some customization.